Good morning.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm feeling so fantastic. I'm feeling so good. I started exercising again and I feel so much better.
Yeah, what do you
It's
do for
crazy.
exercise?
I do a mile and then I do weights and then I do 2 miles.
Nice.
Yeah.
All as part of like your day's routine?
Yeah, like what my goal is to do it 5 days a week where I do the walking, I do one lap around our dock, because we live on an island, right? So one lap around there is a mile, and then I go into the gym and I do weights, and then I go on the treadmill and I do the other 2 miles, and I love it.
Nice. Excellent. Good for you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I tend to walk out. I'm in the Hudson River Valley, so I get to walk in nature a lot, and that's like my
Oh
favorite thing
yeah.
to do. So I had a nice walk yesterday with a girlfriend in the woods, and that was fabulous. I didn't lift any weights though, but that's something that I try to incorporate, on a weekly basis, lifting just some free weights, going through
Yeah.
my routine. Yeah, but I actually got back into my regular routine. Was it on Sunday? Of course,
Oh
I
really?
I, I missed yesterday. Oh well.
Okay, so you'll do better. You'll do better.
Well, if I
You
get
do
in,
need a day of rest.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, you know what? I didn't do my regular workout that I do at home with the weights, but I did do the walk. So it's like,
Right?
what am I
Yeah.
talking about? What am I
Exactly.
talking about?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I strive for 5 out of 7 days as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good medium. I was actually inspired because I'm in a poker league, and one of the guys who I love, Frank, and he was like, "No, we're running tomorrow. We're walking tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, me too. I'm gonna do it too, Frank. I'm gonna do it." And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna do it. I love this guy." And he says something. I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'll try that." I just love
That's
this
great.
guy. He's such a nice guy.
That's
Anyway,
great.
let's start
Anyway,
our conversation for today.
yes. So today we're discussing the common barriers or some common barriers to getting past your past. And then we'll share some practices to overcome them.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Yeah,
yep.
and I really like these images because our past is constantly contributing to our current state, right? Unless we digest it and let it go, right? So it's always contributing, and that's why as young children in a future relationship, it will come up if you have not dealt with it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I always use I always refer to a belief being planted, a seed of a belief being planted oftentimes in childhood, and then that belief and those stories that you created when you were 5, 6, 7 years old, those beliefs are running your life. They're driving your behavior. And so it is a necessary tool to get past your past, is unearthing those beliefs and um, reframing them.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I'll put in the next slide, but one of the things is that you're basically not in the beta state, which is the active thinking state, until after 7 or at 7 and beyond. And so everything else is happening. It's inputting freely into you. It's like if you just started downloading programs without discerning, because you don't have the ability to discern at that point what's going to be helpful or not helpful to you. And the thing is that your parents are doing the best that they can to give you some information to protect you. That's their number one job. And so sometimes the way they deliver that protection can lead to beliefs that you no longer need, or they would deliver to you in a manner that um, made you conclude that you weren't good enough. And I guess we'll go into the slides because these are the main emotions that will come up, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, getting started with guilt and shame, these emotions can really be paralyzing and make it hard for us to forgive ourselves. And they often stem from a belief that you should have acted differently, which leads to self blame and a negative self image.
Right, right. And rumination, involves that thinking about the past event over and over and over again, like a broken record where it's just keeps going on and on and on, and you don't have a pause. You don't have a way to stop that thinking unless you take some action. Usually, if you take some action, right? But some people, we call it rumination. It could be obsession, and that holds you down. It's like an anchor that keeps you in the past events, which trap you in a cycle of negativity, and it prevents you from focusing on the present and moving forward.
Yeah. And then emotional attachment, this strong emotional ties to past experiences, whether they're positive or negative, that can make it difficult to let go. And so these attachments can create a sense of loss or longing that hinders progress.
Right. And the fear of change as well. The the unknown is intimidating to many people. And we fear what the future holds because there's so much uncertainty, and so we cling to the past even though it's not serving us well. So if you constantly repeat your past beliefs, you're constantly going to produce. And as adults, we can see what we're constantly producing, what our everyday is. And when we start to think of uncertainty as possibility, as creation, then that's different. But that fear of change, well, again, it will hold us back into what you think might be comfortable, because it's only familiar.
Right, right. Holding on to the familiar past and fearing the unfamiliar future, right?
Right. That's exactly it. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
And then lack of forgiveness, holding on to grudges or being unable to forgive yourself or others keeps you, again, anchored in the past and anchored to those past hurts. And forgiveness is crucial for emotional freedom and for your ability to move forward.
Right. Forgiveness is it's just it's also a way of breaking the loop of the emotional pain inside that memory. Right. Let's go into the things that you can do to try to go beyond the past so that you can, be a creator for your future, so that you can have the desires and wishes fulfilled, because now your perception shifts. And so when your perception shifts, you start to see things differently. And when you start to see things differently, even if it's the same place, the environment, you will see opportunities. You will start to see things as not as obstacles, but as challenges that allow you to grow. And so you can move past those challenges instead of feeling that they're holding you back.
Right, right. Transforming them, just like you said, into opportunities as opposed to simply challenges. They're opportunities for growth, development, and expansion. Yeah. So diving right into self-compassion. We were just talking about this before before we came on. Treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend. And this can help to reduce guilt and shame. And it's one of the practices that I think many people find so very difficult. Their inability to give themselves the break that
Mm-hmm.
they would give a friend or a family member or a loved one. But we need to practice self-compassion.
Right, because when you start practicing self-compassion, that leads you down the road to such freedom and allowance, right? It's like breaking free from the constraints that have been holding you back to the person that you think you are, to reveal the person that you truly are.
Mm.
So, and mindfulness, right? The next one, the practice of being present in the moment to reduce that rumination, and techniques like, when we say this, meditation is such a a powerful tool, because meditation isn't about stopping your thoughts. It's about being aware of your thoughts and controlling your thought and saying, I can let go of this thought, freeing that thought and coming back to the present moment. And meditation doesn't have to be done just sitting down. You can do walking meditations. And that's one of the beauties, which I know that one of the things that you love being up in Hudson Valley is walking out in nature, is such a powerful walking meditation.
Absolutely. And, using an anchor, and however many times your mind wanders and goes into thought, focusing on the past or the future, bringing yourself back to the present moment and whatever anchor you're using, whether it's your breath, a bodily sensation, a mantra, um, that redirection, that
Mm-hmm.
gentle but firm redirection is so beneficial. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And then emotional processing, allowing yourself to fully feel and process your emotions. And journaling, which I know you're a big fan of, Maria, could be a useful tool, to help process. It's something that you can help yourself with just by journaling and thinking through, and taking the time and the effort and the discomfort too of sitting down with your emotions and just seeing, all right, well, what's underneath that?
Right, right. And that's why I love journaling, because you get right underneath that, and it's a way to purge. It's a way to purge. And then, the gradual exposure, right? Take some small steps towards that change. Doesn't have to be, one big hurdle. It's like, if people, make these huge commitments, especially in the beginning of the year, where you try to, oh, I'm going to work out every single day. And that's not who you are, right? So you're not going to do that. Start with the smallest step possible so that you can commit to it, and then build on that one step. Because if you look at the long game and say, hey, if I start this right now, where will I be in a month? Where will I be in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year? And that's your goal, because these aren't sprints. This is a emotional marathon, that where the gain is beyond any kind of financial or reward, or any kind of medal that you can have. So it's a gradual exposure that allows you to move forward and gradually go into things that you find intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah. Chunking, breaking it down to the smallest, simplest step.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
that's the way
Exactly.
to go. Yeah. And then forgiveness exercises, engaging in practices that promote forgiveness, such as writing a letter of forgiveness, even if you don't send it, you know?
Yeah. No. Definitely. And I find that with forgiveness, when you start to forgive yourself and you forgive other people, you start to, like, your heart starts to open. There's so much freedom when you forgive. And as I said before, it reduces or lets go of that emotional pain that you've been carrying. Because forgiveness is, there, that you can think of them as little wounds that you have. And when you start to forgive, those wounds heal. and that energy comes back to you, and you can refocus that energy so that you can continue to heal at a faster pace. Because once you start learning to forgive, you start to let go, and it's like the freedom is it's incredible. It's unbelievable how light you feel when you no longer are carrying resentments, right? When you're no longer carrying your past, you're no longer judging yourself, and you're no longer judging others. Because what happened, it couldn't happen any other way, because in actuality, it didn't happen any other way. So you let things just be and move forward.
Yeah, when we talk about forgiveness and the heart, an image that comes to me is like having the heart bound up in chains. And so it's like heavy and it's burdened, and just, releasing each one at a time. It allows for this spaciousness and freedom and a release, a putting down of
Right.
of the burden, right? And unshackling yourself from those chains that are like so bound around your heart. It's
Right.
it's a worthwhile practice for sure.
And it's amazing. Like, we talk about seeing things differently and how they change. So once you start to see things differently, when you practice forgiveness and self-compassion, you start really to see things differently, because that perception, it 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 dissolves, and it's a domino effect, because it no longer it's like it's like having a blind on, and then being able to let it go. Now you're seeing different. It's not so much that that the past changes. It's how you see the events changes you and frees you, because we can go back and take a look at what is it that you needed at that moment, and then reconcile and say, okay, so this is what I'm still needing now, and how do I resource myself? How can I give myself that? Because there's so many things that we can give ourselves. When you meditate on love, that's an internal action that you can actually feel love emanating from you. You don't need the outside world to constantly validate you, to give you the love that you need, to give you the compassion that you need. These are things that we have inside of us, and we know we have them inside of us because we give them to others. We give other people kindness. We give other people compassion. We give other people, love and forgiveness. That means that it's in us. And so when we start practicing self-forgiveness, compassion, it's just a matter of saying, like you said before, as you would do it with a friend, do it for yourself like we said before, in small increments, tiny steps, where you say, okay, I did that. I'm not the same person that I was then, because now I know better, and I would never do that again. And no, I would never do that again. That's significant.
Yeah, it's a path of growth and expansion, for sure. Recognizing that the me who did that, who made those mistakes, those errors in judgment, that that's a person of the past, and I'm here now, wiser, stronger, more resilient, and able to make different choices now, in the now.
In the now. Yes,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, I think we've come to the end of our conversation. If anyone listening needs support, please reach out to us. We're here to help. That is a commitment that Maria and I both have. Our greatest wish is that these videos will help someone feel less alone, imbue them with hope, and give them some practices to move themselves forward to feeling better with themselves and in their lives and in their relationships.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lourdes. And I will see you on our Thursday Q&A, where we will answer another viewer question, maybe two, maybe the thing is that we sometimes we only answer one question because the questions that we get, they're popular. And it's like when you ask a question, we know where other people have the same question. And so we try to really dive deep into that question so that we answer, different perspectives on the same question.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a fantastic day. And I will see you on Thursday. And I hope to see everyone on Thursday as well.
All righty. Bye.